Tom here with Christian again, or Chris. You prefer Chris?
I do prefer Chris.
I'm here with Chris again. Sam is unfortunately still busy, so we're going to do another commentary. Another season 1 episode, and it's one that I think is well regarded as possibly the single worst episode of Superboy.
Not for lack of trying, I will say that. It has a great premise, but it's the execution that brings it down.
That is such a regular problem, especially in season 1. Like, there's another episode that's not particularly good. Is the one, I forget what the name of the episode is. I think it's The Imposter or something like that.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah, a cool idea. Someone's dressing up as Superboy and robbing banks and stuff to frame him, and yeah, it just doesn't work particularly for me anyway. I don't know if you feel differently about that episode, but
I have a soft spot in it just because of the end scene with Hugo when he falls off the bridge. Because that moment right there is a great, John as Superboy moment, the square lantern-jawed, hero, and then just giving him the little, you said I couldn't use my powers. And the whole thing of you expecting a glass jaw or feet of clay, that's great, but you can't base an entire episode on moments.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think another one of the worst episodes is, it was originally, I think it was supposed to be the season 4 finale, Obituary for a Superhero.
Yes.
Just a terrible episode all round, just very poorly executed. I'm so glad that wasn't the finale, because
as I understand it from my talks with Sam, that was originally supposed to be like a cliffhanger that would lead into a series of TV movies that would, lead to him both becoming Superman and, kind of finish out the series.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to die at the end. But they kind of needed 2 extra episodes to have a full 100 for syndication purposes that never went into purpose.
Yeah, but thank goodness they did. But, yeah, because obviously we know the TV movies would never come. So if the series had ended with that episode, it
would have
annoying
been a
as
giant
it is that there's not
to
more
the fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get started anyway. Season 1, episode 25, Succubus. If you want to get it zeroed out, I'll count us in as 3, 2, 1, and then hit play on go.
Okay.
And 3, 2, 1, go.
Still got to say that is a lovely intro we've got here.
Yeah, I love the season 1 intro. It's
I just love it. The first intro was kind of meh. The flying through the.
I like
bridges.
it, but it's underwhelming. It doesn't really. Yeah, it's underwhelming. If the green screen was a little bit better, or the blue screen rather was a little bit better, maybe it would be. Yeah, but it's not. So now we just get that tiny little bit from the end of this intro. Yeah, here we go. Succubus.
I like the fact that in certain scenes it's got a little bit of a red haze to it. Kind of gives it a foreboding feel.
Yeah. It's nice when they actually use colour grading in this show, because so often they just didn't bother. Like, it's only really for the special episodes like Hollywood and Hell Breaks Loose when they have the flashback scenes.
Yeah.
Which I watched that Hell Breaks Loose again recently, and man, those flashback scenes are just beautifully shot. But we're not talking about that episode today anyway.
Directed by David Nutter, written by Cary Bates. So, given who worked on this episode, Cary Bates, famous Superman writer from, the 70s on into the 80s, this should have been a lot better. And I'm sure that there were scenes that were cut out that would explain some of the lacks.
Yeah, I wonder what scenes were cut. It's a shame that season 1 DVD doesn't have just like a bunch of deleted scenes, because there has to be a load.
Yeah, they're probably sitting in Ilya's vault. I mean, this scene right here, this is very it sets up what we're going to be dealing with. And Sybil Danning, I mean,
yeah, she's great.
She is great. I mean, yes, she's known as a B movie actress, but she's top notch. Yeah. And you can't say that the episode fails because of her.
No, definitely not. This episode has a lot of problems, but I wouldn't say that she's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, the acting in this is very good.
Yeah, and I like that effect, how his skin turned grey and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay, this part I don't get. How does the kid know that the guy's dead?
Probably because his skin's turned grey. Just like, yeah, but he looks like a zombie.
It looks like it's like a 7 or 8 year old walking by, and especially from the way they're talking. How does a 7 or 8 year old know that a guy's dead? Yeah. How exposed to death are they?
Watching too many movies that he shouldn't have been, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's funny thinking back, like when I was that age. I think the only way I knew really what death was is because Joker died at the end of Batman '89.
Yeah. And this scene is great because we finally find out what TJ stands for.
Oh, is it said in this one?
Yeah, Trevor Jenkins White.
Oh, brilliant. I knew that he'd made up the name and they used it in the comic, but I'd completely forgotten that it was actually mentioned in the show.
Yeah, according to Jim, he was actually saying that that TJ's name was Terry White.
Really?
Because he's Perry's son. But somehow it became Trevor Jenkins, and we went with it.
Yeah. I mean, Terry can be a nickname for a guy named Trevor, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's some strange nicknames in the world like that. That's easily seeable. You can really see the on-screen chemistry though between Stacey and John in this scene.
Yeah.
You could tell that they're definitely dating at this point because even though they're not dating in the show, they're practically all over each other. It's really nice.
And it's a shame that she later said, "This is why you should never date your co-stars."
Yeah, just because it makes it awkward if one of them gets replaced, I suppose.
Yeah. And is it just me, or does their dorm room seem different than the last time we saw it?
It does a little bit. Maybe it's just the lighting. It does make me wonder if maybe this was. I would like to know which episode was actually shot last for the series, because maybe they pulled down the set and realised they forgot to shoot a scene.
Yeah.
Just throw up 2 walls, put up a couple of posters. That'll do. But I like that just then they were saying, like Clark was saying, that don't you think she's a bit out of TJ's league? Not mentioning that she's about 40.
Yeah. They seem to have a lot of that, 40-year-old women going after young guys in season 1.
Yeah,
as we mentioned last time.
Teacher, yeah. You could tell they had a little bit more of a budget towards the end, though, because you can't imagine that expensive, old-looking car in the background. You wouldn't have seen that in the early episodes.
No.
You had this episode, you had Hollywood. Like, you can tell they gave it a little bit more of a budget. Not as much as they would have liked, I'm sure, but still.
Yeah, true.
I can never get over watching this show, just the mullets.
That was the late 80s. Come on.
You got TJ's mullet, like Leo had a pretty huge mullet.
Lex had mullet wigs in the last episode.
I suppose we're kind of lucky they didn't give Superboy a mullet, really. It would come later in the comics, obviously, but although I just don't suppose in the comics it's not really a mullet. It's just, yeah.
So this is a great scene right here, and the execution of it is absolutely top notch.
Yeah.
And it's very Silver Age in the fact that it's Superboy playing a charity event baseball game against himself as the entire team.
It's funny because Lois and Clark basically ripped it off as well for one of their intros later on, where it's just Dean Cain playing baseball against himself.
Yeah.
Scenes like this, though, are just... I love scenes like this. I wish there was more of them.
Yeah.
I like the episode, was it The Fixer, where Lex is fixing basketball games?
Yeah.
Like, when he's the referee and he's flying around with the whistle and stuff, like, I just... Yeah, you take something every day and just regular as a sports game and you add superpowers to it, and it just makes it so much fun.
Yeah, that's the one where the coach for State was played by Curly Neal from the Harlem Globetrotters.
What was it? I'm not a big sports fan, so I had no idea. That went straight over my head.
Okay, and here's where there's a little bit of a lack. Okay.
Yeah.
And it leads into what's coming next. Does she have senses that he is Superboy, or does she see him change somewhere?
Maybe she can sense like life energy or something, like Parasite.
Yeah, but the whole problem is that something was cut here that we don't know how it is that she ends up in the dorm room.
Yeah.
You can definitely see a change in TJ's personality because of her.
Yeah. Even Clark, though, he's a lot more nervous in those scenes than... Like, he usually plays Clark with a lot of confidence, but in that last scene and a little bit in this one, you can see his nervousness coming out a little bit more.
Maybe this is him starting the whole transition into being nerdy Clark.
Yeah. See, TJ's crushed, but he just dodged a massive bullet.
Yeah.
Like, he's so lucky he's got the rest of his life to look forward to.
Well, he doesn't know that just yet.
No, but... like, scenes like that are just odd. Man, it's been so long since I've seen this episode. It's unreal.
And this is oddity number one. Why is TJ skulking through the hallways of his own dorm building like a stalker?
Mm.
I mean, did he follow her here? Okay, he had to have seen that.
Yeah. It's hard to miss the giant glowing light as well. I'm getting serious, like Bram Stoker's Dracula vibes, like when the vampire women go into the bedroom. Like, it's very, yeah.
Yeah, although I have to say that was done a lot better than this.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, Succubus is... There are definitely similarities to the concept of a vampire, isn't there? So.
Yeah, I mean, a succubus is very well known in the history of folklore, and to use one is great. And I know Sam would be agreeing with us on this, that not having a kryptonite villain, having something more supernatural or magic, great.
Yeah, it's Superman. Like, Superman's got two basic weaknesses, and obviously magic is one of them, but it's not used nearly often enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and TJ's getting a little creepy, isn't he?
Yeah, and the Dean is not acting, forceful enough.
No. He even looks slightly ill in this, so it's like rather than
there's
just be like,
bags under
TJ,
his
are you sure
eyes.
you're okay? Like, do you want to go see the nurse? Now Clark has to know something's wrong with TJ now because he should not have been able to punch him out like that.
Yeah.
There's some magic taking hold, unless he just like rolled with the punch, I suppose.
Yeah. Again, acting is not bad here.
Yeah.
I mean, Stacy's on point, Sybil Danning's on point, but then again, you can't expect anything less of Sybil Danning.
Yeah. It's very soap opera, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But it always makes me laugh in like soap operas when people are having a conversation and one just turns their back to the other and continues talking. It's one of those tropes that just never ceases to make me laugh.
Yeah. Okay, she's not even in the car. How is it that Simon's got control over the kid?
Maybe they're both magic. I don't know.
Mm.
Or maybe it's a magic car.
Now we find out why she's doing what she's doing.
See, it's not a badly shot episode either. Like, it's pretty well shot. I like when TV shows like they have a lot of just tracking shots with the camera, just movement of the camera, and it's all in one take.
Yeah.
Like, there's been a few scenes like that in this episode, and I always appreciate when they do it. It's probably to save time, but still.
It has a lot of atmosphere, which goes with the idea of the succubus. But
See, you saying earlier about how different the dorm room looked. I wonder if they put up a load of new posters just so it made the impact when all the posters were gone.
It could be. Okay, and how does Clark know that this is Simon?
Yeah.
It looks like a totally different old guy.
Gotta love a good shirt rip, haven't you?
Yeah.
If there's one thing you got to know about Superman, he must be just very, very good with a sewing kit because of all the buttons he has to replace constantly.
Yeah.
Either that or he just mails them all home to Martha Kent and she does it for him. Well, I suppose he could just fly them home.
Yeah, well, given that he grew up on a farm, he probably already knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And now we know what she is.
Yeah. That's the name of the episode.
Yeah, Peter Griffin would actually make a comment about that.
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to stop you, or my name isn't Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
He always does strike a a heroic pose, even when he's got his arms crossed and he's ticked.
Yeah. His acting definitely did improve over the course of the show.
Yeah.
Like, he was never bad, but well, I don't know. The first, like the original pilot, when they says like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Superboy." It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
I think if they had the budget for a couple more takes, he would have done better. But what can you do? Low budget is. Some things are unavoidable, I suppose. With those traps as well, like it's very very Jigsaw.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great moment right here as she's de-aging.
Yeah. She just turns into a pile of crystals.
Yeah.
Like, is that part of the succubus myth? I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Still was an interesting image. You know what? This episode's not quite as bad as I remember, but it's one of the weaker episodes for sure.
Yeah. And I like how Lana acts as the peacemaker here, putting two friends back together. I mean, that's just a great moment.
Yeah.
And of
Well,
course, a tease that for a future episode that never happened.
well, maybe for season 5 we'll have those crystals come back, and they're what creates Parasite.
That's one way to do it.
Not necessarily what I'll go with, but it's an idea.
When it comes down to this episode, I would, if I were to grade this, it's kind of like a 2 to 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a great premise. The acting is not bad.
I even like some of the visual effects. I mean, they're not fantastic, but they're not bad for the budget and the time it was made.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is that there's scenes that are missing that could that could act as exposition.
Yeah.
As to how she knows to go to Clark's dorm room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you
can tell. There's a lot of unexplained things in there that really could have done with an explanation, really.
Yeah, and I know when you're dealing with a TV show, whether it's a half an hour or an hour long, there's always going to be stuff that gets cut.
Oh, definitely.
You know? But this episode kind of feels, to a certain extent, like Superman 4. You know, they made cuts to it, and now the story doesn't
make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to get hold of a script from season 1. I know Sam's got all the scripts from season 2 onwards, but I wonder if he's got this one from season 1. I'd love to know what scenes were cut.
I know he does have a few season 1s. I think he's actually got the ones that were sent over to Gerard to be read, and then Gerard just, when he sold Sam all of his stuff, that was in there. But I don't know if this one is in there. I think mostly the stuff that would be in there was probably the stuff that involved Lex and Leo.
Yeah.
But
I'll have to ask him though. Just if he has got it, I would love to just say, if you've got that script, would you mind telling us what scenes were deleted? Because it might turn out that the scenes that were deleted actually don't actually shed any light on what's going on, and turns out it was just a weak script. But
yeah, but you wouldn't think a weak script from Carrie Bates.
No, that's the thing. There has to have been more going on there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, this was enjoyable. Hopefully the people listening and watching along with us enjoyed it too. Is there anything else you'd like to say on this episode, or?
I think we've pretty much summed it up. It's a weak episode that could have been better. There are probably ways that it was better, but for whatever reason they got cut. You wouldn't expect this kind of a weak episode from David Nutter as a director, or Carrie Bates as a writer. So
yeah, I mean, it was well directed, the episode. As I said, I think some of it was reasonably well shot. I think the acting was on point.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, which is why I give it a 2 to 2.5 out of 5.
Yeah. It's got redeeming qualities, which is good. But yeah, 2 to 2.5 out of 5. Absolutely agree. But yeah. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll get more Superboy content out to you soon. Thanks.
Take care, everybody.